Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Dr. Dan DeLille, and I am a mindfulness and spirituality coach. And today I'd like to talk to you about the three secrets of mindful living. So I wonder if any of you can relate to this. Are you lost to a world of constant demands on you and your time? Do you feel like you have no time for yourself? Do you feel overwhelmed by the stress and anxiety of everyday life? Do you feel as if your life has lost its focus or purpose? Are you letting life pass you by instead of actively living it? And are you tired of feeling out of control of your own life? Because I know I certainly can. This was me a few years ago. I felt like I was drowning and I had zero control of my life. This was my life. I felt like I was held hostage to my life and to work. Work was just going nowhere, spinning wheels. Everyone was on me, just wanted a piece of me and my time, and I just didn't have time for everything. I was constantly stressed. I had low mood. I was fatigued. I felt defeated. I felt dejected. I was in extreme stress, even though I didn't know I was under all this stress and anxiety at the time. I was on autopilot. And the worst thing is, I had no idea how to stop. It's just, I was again on autopilot. I just kept rolling with it. And almost like I didn't realize I had a problem, even though I knew there was a problem somewhere. So when I would bring this up with friends or colleagues or something like that, I would be getting advice and help, support, guidance, all sorts of stuff to help me out. But quite frankly, none of it really worked for me. So I felt like I had to find my own path back to myself. And so I started doing that. I started essentially trying to forge my own way back. And as I found this path, I realized what I was doing was living mindfully. And so I started looking into mindfulness more and reading about mindfulness more and implementing more and more mindfulness into my life. And it has completely changed my life around. I am no longer dejected. I no longer feel like I'm out of control. In fact, I feel like I am finally in control of my life. I am my own life captain. So, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is actually one of the easiest concepts in the world to understand and to do, actually, but it does take dedicated practice. Mindfulness is just about living in the present moment. You need to accept it without judgment, and that's really the hardest part. And you need to accept it without trying to change it or force it to be different. By forcing it to be different, by not accepting it, you're creating the stress and anxiety in your life. You have to learn to merely accept the present moment as it is and to live in that present moment, not in the past, not in the future, like most of us spend 99% of our time living. We need to spend 100% of our time living in the here and now. Well, maybe not 100%. We do need to plan for the future, and sometimes we do reminisce on the past. But for active living, here, it needs to be essentially 100%. And this is a quote by John Kabat-Zinn, who's one of the leaders in mindfulness. He kind of started the mindfulness movement. And this is a great quote for him. This is what mindfulness as a practice offers us: a new way of being in a relationship to what is, not as an escape route or an expedient, but as a way of being more in touch with our humanity, our goodness, and our beauty. The benefits of mindfulness are through the roof. Some are shown here, but there are a lot more than just these. You are going to have reduced stress and anxiety. You're going to have increased focus. You're going to have improved problem-solving skills, and you're going to be more effective at communication. Your emotional regulation is going to be fantastic. You have increased compassion, improved sleep quality, and just general overall better health. And you're going to have a greater enjoyment of life. Here are just some examples of some mindfulness studies that were done in the recent past. So in one study, 2/3 of students showed improved academic performance using mindfulness. 2/3, 66%. And in another study, 64% of people who reported improved social skills upon practicing mindfulness. And so these are truly outstanding statistics. And this picture, I love this picture. This was me and this is me now. And so before mindfulness, every time I got in the car, I was 1 second away from having a heart attack. All right, I was constantly screaming at people, flipping people off, road rage through the max. I had no patience for anyone. I had no tolerance for stupidity on the road. I had no tolerance for people just taking their time. I had someplace I wanted to be. I didn't want to be in the car. I wanted to be at my destination. And the funny thing is, I was like this on the way to work. I mean, how many people actually want to be at work? I don't know about a lot of you, but I definitely don't enjoy spending a whole lot of time at work, even though I'm in a job that I quote unquote love. All right. So it's not even the destination, it's more about just being out of touch with reality. Then I started being mindful. And one day I realized I was driving like this. I still do this maybe 5% of the time. You know, some really big jerk on the road does something and out comes the anger and the middle finger. And then I feel horrible about it afterwards. Like I'm a big baby that just threw a temper tantrum instead of an adult who should have better control of my emotions. But now this is me. And I right now commute about 2 hours to work each day and then 2 hours back. And so I spend a lot of time in the car. And so I can tell you that if mindfulness can take me from this to this, it is the most powerful thing that you can experience on this planet. So, what are the three secrets of mindful living? And you're going to be wowed by this because it really is quite simple. But again, even though it's simple, it is a practice. It takes fortitude and dedication to live mindfully. And so the three secrets of mindful living include connection. You want to connect to the present moment. Open yourself to whatever is happening at the moment. Don't wish it to be different. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Just ground yourself in the present moment. Then become aware of the present moment. And by that, I mean become aware of not only your surroundings, but also your thoughts and emotions surrounding what is happening. You can either verbalize them by saying them, or you can internalize these, but somehow become aware of how you're feeling and how the current moment is impacting those feelings. Finally, you need to accept that current moment the way it is. You need to accept your thoughts and feelings as what they are. You need to accept this without judgment and without prejudice. It simply is the current situation, and you have two choices. You can either accept it as it is and keep going, or you can start judging it and finding faults in it and then start getting stress and anxiety because the current situation in reality is out of your control. As I've already said this a few times in a couple different ways, mindfulness is a way of being. And while it is simple, it is not easy. Okay. And so these three steps here are very simple steps. They sound very simple, but they are not easy. They take that dedicated practice each day, almost every moment doing this. But once you start living mindfully, once you get into this practice of doing so, it's extremely easy to live mindfully. You just have to get over that hurdle. So, how do you do it? Well, the first thing is many people fail at mindfulness. And I think it's because of lack of guidance and structure. There are a lot of books out there, there are a lot of mindfulness coaches, there's a lot of websites out there, but they essentially jump you in or dump you into the deep end. They don't really give you a step by step program or pathway to live mindfully. They say, do this, try this, and eventually find your own path. But living mindfully isn't actually that difficult. It just takes plenty of patience, discipline, and practice. All right. So to get over that being thrown into the deep end and figuring out on your own, I developed the Living Minutes lifestyle and the Living Minutes Academy that has a Living Minutes program that guides you gently through the process of incorporating mindfulness into your life. So, what is the Living Minutes Academy? The Living Minutes Academy is your one stop resource for all things that are mindful. We have programs, tools, and resources to help you live mindfully. And most of these resources are for donation. So if you can't afford these resources, they're there for you for free. I just want everyone to have access to these resources. I believe that the more people that live mindfully, the better the world will be. The Living Minutes Academy is also home of the Living Minutes lifestyle. And so this is outlined in a couple books I have, Just a Minute, and my upcoming book, Just a Moment. And Just a Minute kind of teaches you the importance of not letting lost time be wasted. And then just a moment takes those living minutes and expands them into mindful moments in order to live more mindfully. The very first thing what I want to do is a 3-week challenge, which should be up on my website here very shortly. And in this 3 week challenge, each day you'll have a short PowerPoint presentation, a very short video like this, with a little task to do. The entire video and task should only take you 5 or 10 minutes to complete. But at the end of the 3 weeks, you will have all the basic tools you need to begin living mindfully. And finally, I will be adding mindfulness based courses as they become available to the website so that you can dive more deeply into mindfulness as you progress in your journey. So, who am I to tell you all of this? Who is Dan DeLille, PhD? Well, I'm an award winning author, I'm a lauded professor, internationally acclaimed scientist, a mindfulness guru, and a skilled life captain. I'm also a life coach specializing in mindfulness and spirituality. I have a lot of academic credentials. I have a bachelor's degree in French and chemistry. I have my master's and PhD in chemistry as well. And I have a lot of certifications and diplomas ranging from, as I said before, life coaching, mindfulness, mindfulness based stress reduction, spirituality, energy healing, all sorts of different things I have gotten trained and credentialed in over the past few years, ever since I started this journey in mindfulness. And before I started doing things mindfully, I was kind of stuck just being the scientist and professor. That's all I had time for. And then as I started to live mindfully, I realized that I wasn't living for me, I was living for my job. And so went and wrote a book. I started doing things that I really was passionate about, such as mindfulness and spirituality and these other areas of my life that I had let go to the wayside and I've sacrificed for my career. And finally, one day I said, no more, and began my journey in mindfulness. So, how do you get started? Where should you get started on this? I said I'm not going to throw you right in the deep end, right? First of all, work with the books. Get just a moment, download it, and learn to live that for at least 30 days. But ideally, you want to do that for 30 to 60 days to really get you into that mindset of not wasting time and how to maximize that lost time. And so, in just a minute, you're going to learn things like how to identify lost time, how to maximize that lost time. And by lost time, I'm talking about things like you're waiting in line at the grocery store, waiting to see your doctor, waiting at a traffic light, any of these things where you have time essentially stolen from you. How can you take that time and use it to improve yourself? Most people will just absentmindedly go for their phone and just start scrolling through Facebook or something like that. That's wasting that time. All right. And so that's what Just a Minute does for you. Just a Moment will be teaching you how to do some mindfulness exercises. Once you've read Just a Minute or started with Just a Minute, you might want to start the 3 week challenge. And these are self-guided video courses that takes just a few moments each day to help you develop your own journey in mindfulness. And then you can explore further with a full course or something else related to that through my website. So as I said, Just a Minute, this is a crucial step. And I think this is a step that any other mindfulness program skips. And this is transforming lost moments into living minutes. So I've already explained this on the previous slide, but what you do is you take those lost moments and you fill it with some sort of activity that benefits you. All right, so you're watching a TV show and now you have 2 or 3 minutes of commercials. What do most people do? Grab their phone, maybe run to the bathroom, or they do something rather mindless. Well, how about during those 2 or 3 minutes, you stand up and do some calf raises or some lunges or something along those lines, learn a new word in a foreign language. You have 3 minutes, learn a word or two, learn some verb conjugations. Start a puzzle, do one thing in the puzzle until the TV comes back on. These little things that can help train your body, mind, and your living soul. The key to Just a Minute is that by learning to recapture these lost moments, you are subconsciously learning how to live mindfully. These living minutes are actually tricking you into living in that present moment and doing those 3 steps that we talked about earlier, the 3 secrets of mindful living. And so this is why Just a Minute is such a crucial step to living mindfully. The next book actually explains then the process of actually living mindfully. So now that you've realized that you have all this lost time that you can maximize upon, and now that you have all these new things that you can do in your lost time, you can then expand upon those and make them into mindful moments in my book, Just a Moment, which should be out approximately fall 2023. In that book, you will also have some nurturing meditations. The living minutes, mindful moments, and nurturing meditations are your three tools to living mindfully. And our motto here at Living Minutes is live mindfully now. These were chosen because the three first letters, L, M, and N, refer to the three tools that you have: the L for living minutes, the M for mindful moments, and the N for nurturing meditations. With these three concepts, you can always live mindfully now. So the 3-week challenge, as I said, is a bunch of pre-recorded video lessons. You're given a PDF of that lesson each day, and you're given a small daily challenge to do. And in just minutes a day, you'll see how easy it can be to become a life lieutenant. At the end of the 3-week challenge, you'll be promoted from a life ensign up to a life lieutenant. And then after several months of mindful living, you can promote yourself up to a life captain at the end of just a moment. So the question is, are you ready to take back control of your life? As John Kabat-Zinn said, now is always the right time. Visit livingminutes.com today, download the Living Minutes book, start your 3-week challenge, and get living mindfully now so you can start living your best life 1 minute at a time. So your challenge is to take back your life today. You're going to use these 3 secrets that I told you today and begin to live mindfully. My books, my website, and all of that are just tools and resources to help you implement those 3 secrets. The 3-week challenge is also the same thing. It'll help you implement those 3 secrets. At the end of 3 weeks, you will have a firm foundation about what it means to live mindfully. And finally, just take care of yourself. No matter what you do after today, just be sure to take care of yourself and please be kind to others. So with that, I'd like to thank you for listening to me today. Merci, tusen tak. Please help spread the word. I want as many people to live mindfully as possible. Again, I believe so much in mindfulness that this can really transform and change our world, that I am offering all of these resources for free. I am asking for a donation. If you can afford a donation, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it. Simply donate what you can or what you feel the value of the materials are worth, or even more if you so wish. And if you can't afford to give a donation, that's totally fine. The resources are there and available for you for free to begin living your best life today. If you would like to give a donation, you can scan this QR code right here. That'll take you to my PayPal. And again, any donation is greatly accepted and appreciated. So thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember, live mindfully now.